So today I'm going to be talking about how I started my apprenticeship and how I became a qualified electrician by the age of 21. This is an extended version of the small video I made on my TikTok and my YouTube shorts. So it started for me around approaching 5 years ago now, where I started doing some summer work for a guy that had, was just helping him out, just kind of as an electrician's mate, as a labourer. Just overseeing what he's doing, helping cleaning, minor things like that, helping him run cables or, do an EICR, whatever he was doing, I was doing. And that's kind of how it started. At the time, I was 16 and literally it was just a summer job. To be honest with you, I'm not really too surprised that it happened that way, because I kind of, when I was that age, had that mindset that I just wanted to make money, and I wasn't really into school, and I knew that I wasn't going to go to university, so it was quite easy. And I always said I want to work, and then when that opportunity came up, I took it straight away. So at that time, I just finished year 12, so summer had just started, and I remember, so I finished literally on a Friday. Monday, I was working. So now I have been working, let's say, a couple months now. September comes along and I had to make a decision to go back to school or to continue to working. And honestly, I started on £300 a week, around that, and it's quite hard to suddenly just be like, okay, you're not making it anymore, you're going back to school. So I sat there and I thought that no, I didn't want to go back to school, and I continued to work. I asked the guy I was working for at the time, it was a really small company, if he could employ me. And I can't remember who, but the advice given to me was, if you're going to do that, you might as well do an apprenticeship. So I ended up, and can I just mention that I was looking for an apprenticeship before I started my summer job. I've been looking. So this actually was my literally last resort. I remember I asked him numerous times, please, can you employ me, please, as an apprentice. He was quite hesitant at first, as some of his family members, they're also electricians, had taken on apprentices and had bad experiences. So at first he was quite, hesitant. He didn't really want to say yes, but he didn't want to say no. Here's the thing, is that because I've been working for him during the summer, I kind of proved myself that actually I'm capable. So as much as he was hesitant at first, eventually he said yes. And I remember I had to find myself a place in college. I already had a job, so it was just a case of finding myself the actual place in college. So I ended up doing that. I found my place in the College of North West London, which is in West London. And I remember I enrolled myself in September, so that following academic year. So now September comes along and I start, and that's when I officially start my apprenticeship and learning. At first it was quite a different experience, because now it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I was still 16 in September, my birthday's in October. So at that time it was just like, okay, Monday to Friday I'm working 8 till 5. And it's quite a different experience compared to a lot of other people that age, where they're not really working. A job like that, it can almost feel like quite lonely, when you're seeing your friends, enjoying themselves, having fun, they're going to college, and they have the time, maybe just not the money. But yeah, so that's what I would definitely say is, it wasn't necessarily a downside, but it's something there to consider. But regardless, I stuck at it, and I showed up and I came to work, and I gave it 100%, to the point I was able to become qualified and complete my apprenticeship. Now, throughout the apprenticeship, I was able to do my AM2, my 18th edition, and my MVQ. I've done that in the space of 3 years. Compared to other people, I was able to complete my, all the MVQ quite fast, because I was doing domestic, which means I got the variety of work, compared to people maybe working in bigger sites that didn't get the variety of work as fast. as somebody who was working on smaller sites where every day was different for them. So one day, like I said, I was doing testing, inspecting. The next day I was doing like you know, rewire. So I was able to get the variety of work which enabled me to take photos and you know, do my write-ups for my NVQ. I completed it very fast, actually, I have to say. Not even a year, I was able to see all the work. Of course, you know, it takes longer than a year to learn, but in terms of completing the NVQ, for me it was quite quick, and I enjoyed every last moment of it. And for everyone wondering if I do have the gold card, I do, and it's right here. So in terms of getting that, you have to so after you complete the apprenticeship, you will get a bunch of certificates and just paperwork saying you've completed the apprenticeship, and you know, all the legal documents to say that yes, you've completed your apprenticeship and it's all official, at least if you've done the apprenticeship. And then what you can do, you will go to the ECS website and you will go and apply for a craftsmanship card, something like that. It's around £50, if I can remember correctly. I think that's how much I paid. It was around that, £50. And you send them your certificates, they process it, you pay, and then, you know, it comes to you in the post. So yeah, that's how I got that. Now that I'm qualified, you know, if I could tell my younger self at the time I started, it probably doesn't matter as much. I'll tell myself to take more pictures of my work and actually have more pride, because I didn't actually realize just how lucky I was in terms of getting an apprenticeship. I had to call around what felt like 200 companies before I actually was able to find a spot. And it seems like other people found it a bit easier to get a spot. I had to call so many companies. I even went for one interview and the guy gave me a math test which I didn't complete in time. And well, I didn't end up getting that job. But I'm so grateful I didn't, because then I wasn't able to work with the guy that taught me electrics, and he honestly was great. So I'm really appreciative of that. And you know, if I go back to my younger self, I'll say, you know what, it's hard in the moment now, and there was some overtime and the work wasn't always great in terms of I'll come back home dirty, and you know, it was cold. Having to work outside when it's cold it's not nice, or working in tight spaces, and especially me being the smallest usually on the site, it was me having to go, you know, in a tight space. So it wasn't always the nicest. I'm not going to sit here and say it was all great. It wasn't all great. I did have some high days and I had some low days. But for the most part, now it's done. It's a massive relief, and I'm quite happy I did go through and do it. And I'll definitely say to anybody that is thinking of doing an apprenticeship and you're watching this, I say go for it. And it's better if you're young because you don't have to pay. I don't know if it's different now. Personally, for me, I didn't have to pay, and everyone who done it, like let's say in my year, we didn't have to pay. It was the company that paid, or it was the government grant that. I don't really know how it worked, but yeah, I didn't have to pay personally, and I know the people that was doing it with me didn't have to pay. So yeah, if you got an apprenticeship, honestly, cherish it, because they're not easy to come by. Anyone has any questions, feel free to ask and leave a comment. I'm more than happy to help out and answer any questions if anybody is curious. I'll be making another video, advice on people who already are on the apprenticeship, on things that they may want to get and how to deal with certain things. So stay tuned for that video when it comes out.